There is, however, something that will need to be taken into very serious and delicate consideration, and that is how history of ancient Macedonia, how far ended to be therefore history of someone else, that is of United States of America, to the extent that one should question how far our present presentation of what was ancient history of Macedonia is adequate to what really was history of that region. That is where I, for example, have found very much the story of Atlantis actually covering up the story of Olymp, where I have recognized that at ground zero, that actually actual Macedonian empire ceased to exist. It has been replaced with society of men and fraternity society, which profoundly continues to define United States of America, which continue to be actually fraternity country, equally as the entire concept of American currency, should I say, population that looks like Alexander the Great, but it is not exactly upon the merits of Alexander the Great, represents some kind of Hezbollah rather application as genetic code applied on something that is different, behave different than its original country, and continue to disrespect the actual temple. That is what I'm going to find that very much questionable, when someone that so much find itself using same interface, same face value, that is son rather than mother and father, goes that far to take over the entire concept of civilizational matrix and redefine the matrix territory, in this case, ancient Macedonia itself. This is where we have to pay very close attention for a possibility and probability something else to hide behind the entire concept of United States of America, and interface and main artifacts, main symbols of interface that United States of America as a state is enclosing and using as a communication with the rest of the countries of the planet. We have to allow possibility that such large territory as it is United States of America, that in its previous in times of its constitution was not exactly that much closely attended, would withhold possibility that something else is hidden within what we perceive today as United States of America. Let's also notice that the penthouse, or should I say rather, I'm sorry, that is the Pentagon. It is very much informant of certain shape of a certain geographic form. As such, might be very much in reference to some hidden symbols and hidden symbols meanings that we simply do not use in our ancient history, and certainly in our overall cultural setting by which we continue to deploy our Macedonian, much more Mediterranean cultural setting, therefore. Fact is that America has become something else for someone else in the name of something else. And we cannot allow our ancient history to be simply used for such purpose or become some kind of ticket without any need for further checkings or questionings, that we now assume that our identity and our territories become open ground for American army to be present there and basically take over our history and our region. We can't accept that. It is facts that we all have impression, we are being made to believe that USA of America is somehow visualizing very successfully with emergence of Hollywood on their territory, our perception of how we want to find our civilization on the planet. However, in substance, if you look carefully, each of the Hollywood movies, they all have some hidden message here. What I want to say is that what America sell to us as a civilizational template in substance has not been accomplished on territory of USA of America as we speak, and the reasons for that are yet to be established. But we cannot buy within our Mediterranean lifestyle and what it is elsewhere already established as much more authentic lifestyle to the territories where the civilizations have been emerging. We cannot just like that bluntly now accept to be overwritten by the culture that is even more hypocritical, even more established in all of its wrong settings. Yeah, if I go in Macedonia and I say I'm having paganary here, I need to deal with. It's going to be harder for me if Hollywood comes on the stage and say, here I am, it's being done, I am now next generation. Now I have the money, I have the power, I'm going to come here and rebuild your cities. You should not be worried. Because they're a plan to do now, to go in Palestine to say, I come from America, that America, very well. We're very good people. We defend the planet. We build these very beautiful cities. We are going to make your Palestine perfect. That is equally they are going to say, we are going to make your Olymp perfect. You should not be worried about it. But then I get in a package what I find obsolete from my idealism and my expectations as 21st century Olympia, how I would like to recalibrate that pagan country. What I'm saying, I am not that desperate to buy solutions of Americans for what me, Olympia, want to project on my own throne land. In other words, I don't know why on earth I should be buying from Americans anything. I understand that they are happy to reconnect with some kind of glimpse of promise. Also, I would, as I have said many times, I can't sum entire ancient Macedonian history of ancient Macedonia, neither to face of Alexander, neither to face of Aristotle only, and then the mother continued to be missing. And we are USA of America, but we are still father and son. And then we have the latest solutions in the shape of American army. And we are against Babylonians, but we are father and son. And we love our military. And our Hollywood is entertaining us enough. The solutions, whatever has become United States of America, I'm going to say, it's not enough it's not a God-given answer here, and that they do have their issues which they need to deal with as any of the nations. But we cannot accept that as a upper level of answers that are going to slide on our ancient territory and to give us their solutions, which are equally not exactly the latest answers to what we have established today as not good enough being done in United States of America inclusive. As for example, again, I'm going to say over and over again, over heavy reliance to father-son protocol depicted in promotion of sport industry on first account in United States of America as a set of value systems, male-driven sport and sport in general dominate that culture. Heavy rock and roll music in general, rock and roll music rather than classic music dominates that culture. And in general, everything that follows next, as Hollywood itself, it is depicting that macho, masculine approach of what masculine America and their masculine military industry and military basically identity, should I say, or what USA of America is, continue to promote as their cultural value system. If you go in Olymp, if you go in Macedonia, you will notice first and foremost that is female-driven culture. And that is where profoundly I'm going to find Macedonia and USA differ. While USA is completely male-driven value system country, Macedonia is female-driven country. That does not mean that our sons are homosexuals just because they have mothers, but are human beings because they have mothers. As if our kids do not have mothers, as Americans clearly are ashamed to admit, then what kind of sons we are going to get? Now you wanted to talk about, I just heard now, they're talking about some very notorious on BBC, which is completely influential, that is Sky Television of United Kingdom's completely being occupied by American propaganda, American capital, American army and everything American, returning in Europe on big doors, which means first step being United Kingdom, making a case of serial killer out there, notorious serial killer, or not, I don't know, notorious rapist in face of gentle, soft face of Chinese citizen. Gentle, soft face of Chinese citizen. Notorious rapist in England, in UK. Seriously? Seriously. City of reptilians. As it is. As it is also America with all of the notoriousness, real mentally distracted rapists out there, and people that really have been living in very harsh conditions. You're pulling out very soft, refined face of a gentle boy as being a rapist? Seriously? Why on earth that perfectly, gorgeously looking young boy would need to be a rapist where every single girl would like to be with him? Can England, of equally ugly people as beautiful, as America of equally ugly people as beautiful, can these countries of equally ugly people as beautiful, and I would argue of more ugly people than beautiful, of more rough and ugly people than refined and gentle people, can these countries explain to me on what ground perfectly looking, gorgeously looking, attractive young man would need at all to be a rapist? Because of what? Because he cannot get a girl? Can in English territories, in English-speaking territory, to me explain exactly what kind of news that is going on out of their ugly-driven, reptilian-driven country yard? I have also impression that these territories, that is Western territories, driven today by United States of America and occupied England and Britannia by Americans at the moment in their attempt to return to Europe, and starting from Britannia, of course, are trying today to do is to draw a very sharp line between Macedonia and Serbia, and to make us to believe that Serbia is our enemy or that Serbia has nothing to do with Macedonia. With my work, I have projected that I cannot clearly abstract Olympia from Serbia, and finding forest and science in the substance of my philosophical charging and in such context, I cannot neither by the construct of my identity, I am therefore my father is Serb and my mother is Macedonia. I deliver work under Macedonian historic house, but I am half Serb. I cannot hide that fact, which of course reflect on my kids as well. And I cannot give to Macedonia completely as a present myself and my kids, and what we bring as a qualitative stamp, which Macedonians would like to admit in their library. I can't, however, it would be not true if I draw the line or accept sharp line to be drawn with Serbia. Also, these are territories that are very much in proximity to each other, and it is very impossible to draw a line of such neighboring territories that have been living on that region for a very long period of time. There is nothing, no big river or no big ocean, no big sea between these two territories. It's just a land. It's not divided by anything really. Peoples have been living together on these territories within centuries and centuries, millenniums and millenniums. And what has been formatted today as a population, which recently started to be called Serbia or Macedonia, in substance is just one ancient basin, and that is one ancient population. And it is absolutely impossible to make such heavy division, which then would be in reference to 2 millenniums old history. That is simply absurd and reflects only how far Western territories continue to meddle with our territories and continue to rewrite our territories and continue to think that they have all of the rights to come on our lands and rewrite our most ancient history, to the extent that, again, I'm going to say they have replaced completely entire concept of Olymp with concept of Atlantis, which, by the way, anyone would say it is associated with Atlantic Ocean and should not be at all mentioned on our Mediterranean, Ionian, Greco-Macedonian ancient plateau. But for quite some time, they have been sitting there with their entire NATO platform, very much assuming that because of NATO, they have right to sit in that region and command it as a matter of defense protocol, of European defense protocol, where in substance, we and our ancient history has not been even mentioned. And we continue to be disposable to the entire NATO protocol without our history or identity, cultural identity for that matter, being even recognized or capitalized appropriately. Instead, we have the centerpiece of NATO are northern territories. Some kind of heavy platforms building out there in Germany, prevailing on the northern side, where South territories continue to be almost as invisible ghosts as that reference in religion that goes clearly Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Now that Holy Spirit would be our ancient history of our ancient Macedonia. And that region, therefore, of our ancient South region, South Mediterranean, where Serbia and Macedonia have been living together for a very long period of time, and all of these territories in proximity to the equally artificially created Albania now, Montenegro being taken away from the previous Yugoslavian aggregated territories, now being separated into small territories, and all being lured one against another, so to weaken the territories, so territories can be much more prone to some kind of need of assistance from outside. That become the next being European Union, which promising some kind of assistance, or in substance European Union never recognized the actual weight of our presence in Europe and actual significance of our presence in Europe, never capitulated it properly, never valued it properly. But basically everything being measured via piping our ancient history and capitalizing it somewhere in Northwest Europe, capitalizing it somewhere in USA of America, losing sense of real identity, sense of real qualitative dimensions, now want to return to our territories with some kind of upper arbitrage on what they clearly never managed to become adequately, and that is to do that much with authentic stamps of our own historical heritage. That is going to rather reduce their right to be present on our territories, either as a NATO, either as the United States of America, either as England, with some kind of upper note and upper expectations that they are going to get something of us for their purposes, for their, I really don't know, valuation of what. If not, what they continue to be rather much more interested in, that is to create profit and profit-making economy. They don't speak about identity enough. They don't talk about their own identity enough. And I often wonder, do they have any of their own authentic identity at all? But to come on our land, on our 1,000 kilometers in radius land, and to say, you're going to split here in like kind of 3-4 countries. That's ridiculous. And then you're all going to be very different, and you're going to hate very much each other. That is ridiculous. Where we're all there, one big family. Where we are there, one big family.